"What's the matter, old man? You think fixing junkers makes you a hero?" The agent sneered, slamming the mechanic's door with a snap that echoed down the street. But when a mechanic reached for the veteran's dog tags, held them high for the agents to see, and a convoy of black SUVs suddenly surrounded the garage, the town fell dead silent. What happened next? No one saw it coming. Welcome to XQ Incredible Stories. Let's uncover what really happened. The engine sputters before it gives up entirely, coughing out its last breath in a plume of blue smoke. I lean forward, knuckles white against the steering wheel, listening to that final shudder. Cold seizes my spine like the desert nights I once endured. No warmth, no mercy. The heat gauge hovers too high, and the smell of burning oil curls through the cab. I'm 20 years removed from the battlefield, but this moment lands like mortar fire. Outside, the small-town garage gleams under neon signs. Wrench and repair, open late. It might as well be a beacon. I push open the door, metal groaning like an old warship. My boots scuff the concrete, and the mechanic looks up, wiping grease from his forearm. His eyes linger on my dog tags draped around my neck, then trace the dents and rust across the truck's hood. He nods once, quietly, as though he already knew why I was here. He doesn't ask for my story. He just motions toward an empty bay and slides the pickup inside. The hydraulic lift hisses as it rises, and my stomach twists. Every turn of the axle, every click and clang, dredges up memories I thought I left behind. Sandstorms blurring the skyline, the stench of diesel and sweat, the weight of a rifle in my hands. I shift on my feet, arms crossed, fighting the tremor in my voice. "Can you fix her?" I ask, trying to sound casual, but the word comes out brittle. He offers a half smile and runs a thumb over the worn bearings on the wheel hub. "She'll run like new," he says, though I catch the hesitation, an unspoken question about the man who drove her here. My throat tightens. I'm a stranger in my own life, a ghost who shows up with broken bearings, hoping someone will notice. Outside, the wind whispers through empty streets. Inside, the mechanic's promise echoes. She'll run like new. And for the first time in years, I feel something budge, a spark, a hope that maybe I can too. Thought for a second. The light overhead throws a harsh glare onto the cracked vinyl seat where my dog tags rest, their metal dulled by years of sweat and rain. I pick them up, tracing the stamped letters with a fingertip. Walter E. Grady. Somewhere between those letters lies a lifetime I can't wear on my sleeve. I remember the night I got them. The desert air was thick with sand, every breath a struggle. A friend reached in his pocket, fumbled, then pressed these cold shards into my hand, his way of saying, "If anything happens, you'll know who I am." I carried them ever since, a lifeline to the living amid death's constant hum. The mechanic leans in, curiosity in his gaze. I catch him staring at the frayed chain, at the dent from where I dropped them in panic, over and over. Once when our convoy hit IDs, again when my heart threatened to give out under the weight of loss. I tuck them into my shirt, skin prickling. He passes me a rag. "Here," he says. "They could use a polish." His hands are steady as he cleans away years of grime, and I realize he's done this before, for someone he didn't know. The clink of metal is a gentle reminder. These tags have a story beyond my own grief. I close my eyes at the sound, feeling the tremor in my chest. The tags slip through my fingers, falling with a soft thud onto the engine block below. The fall jolts me back to this moment. The hum of the garage, the smell of oil and metal, the mechanic's unspoken respect. Outside, headlights slice through the open bay door. A car idles, engine ticking as it cools, another late-night visitor. But here, time slows. These tags, once a burden, feel lighter in his hands. I swallow. "Thank you," I say, voice rough. He nods and returns them, the metal now gleaming faintly in the fluorescent glow. As I snap the chain back on, I catch my reflection in a side mirror, a man shaped by war, but not defined by it. The tags rest against my chest, their faint jingle a heartbeat. In this garage, under the mechanic's quiet care, I begin to believe I might find myself again. Thought for a second. He slides the invoice across the workbench, but the total reads 0. I blink at the empty line where $1 should be. My throat tightens, pride and relief waging war in my chest. He meets my eyes, calm and steady, as if saying this was the least he could do. Outside, the night air is crisp, carrying distant sounds of passing cars and the faint echo of broken dreams on these streets. Inside, the garage feels suspended, time carved from grease and metal, where judgment yields to simple humanity. I swallow hard. I can pay you. I manage, voice unsteady. He shrugs, turning away to gather his tools, as though the matter is settled. No speeches, no charity, just action. The lights overhead cast long shadows on the walls, stained with footprints of 100 stories. Engines stripped for parts, tires laid bare, lives laid open. He doesn't need to ask why I can't pay or who I used to be. He saw the dog tags, traced the rust and battle scars etched into my truck's frame. His offer speaks louder than any question. My hands find the edge of the bench, knuckles whitening. My chest burns with gratitude and an ache I haven't felt in years, a sense of belonging. I wanted to be invisible again, but this gesture demands acknowledgement. I'm here, I exist, someone cares. He sets down a wrench and offers a half smile. Get some rest, he says, voice low. Come back if anything else gives you trouble. No paperwork, no signatures, just a door left open. Outside, I step into the night, the cool wind biting at my jacket. The engine purrs to life beneath me, smoother than it has in a decade. I press my palm against the hood, feeling the hum of restored purpose. As I drive away, the neon sign fades in my rear view. Wrench and repair. Its glow lingers, a beacon for anyone who's broken and searching for a fix. I cradle the steering wheel, dog tags resting against my heart, and realize I may be on the road again, but this time I'm not alone. And that was the silent offer that changed everything. Thought for a second. Every clang of metal on metal echoes like distant mortar fire. I stand beside the open bay, the mechanic's words still warm in my ears, and my mind drifts back to dusty roads and midnight ambushes. The smell of oil blends with sweat and memory, and I can almost hear the radio crackle. Move out. My hands flex, remembering the weight of a rifle, knuckles whitening as I grip the trigger. A convoy stalled beneath an unrelenting sun. Tires shredded, vehicles burning. We took cover behind twisted metal, hearts pounding in unison. A friend shouted urgent orders. I followed without question. Now, the same tremor pulses through me as the mechanic tightens a bolt on my truck suspension. His wrench turns smoothly, and the truck settles onto its wheels with a solid thud, but inside my chest, the earth still shakes. I swallow, voice caught in a landmine of emotion. You ever hear it? I ask quietly. He glances up, eyebrows raised. I point to the walls, tools hanging like weapons at attention. It's peaceful now, but every garage has its own battle songs. He nods, eyes thoughtful. In that pause, I feel the war's echo, the whistle of incoming rounds, the screams swallowed by sandstorms, the silence after the last shot. Memories flare, graves dug under moonlight, letters home that went unread. A distant siren wails, snapping me back. The mechanic steps back, wiping his hands on a rag. You carry a lot with you, he says, voice gentle, but you're still standing. I run a finger along a fresh weld on the frame. This truck, once beaten down like me, is whole again. Yet some fractures run deeper than metal. I close my eyes, leaning against the hood, feeling the vibration of life, engine and heart in tandem. Outside, headlights pass by, life moving forward even as my past looms. I remember the comrade I couldn't save, the promise I made to keep going. Every mile I drive from this garage is part redemption, part escape. The mechanic's presence is steady, a reminder that battles needn't be fought alone. He slides me a rolled rag, cleaned and waiting. I catch his gaze and nod, words unnecessary. As I climb into the cab, the engine's rumble feels less like an echo of war and more like a heartbeat. I turn the key and feel the torque beneath me. Power reclaimed, purpose awakened. And in that moment, I decide to drive until the past fades into a whisper, Thought for a second. The airbags deflated with a soft hiss as I stepped out and handed the keys back. The night air carried a chill, but the warmth from the garage still clung to me. I opened my coat, revealing the dog tags resting against my chest. I come hoping for a fix, not a lifeline. He stood by the open toolbox, arms crossed, watching me hesitate. I clenched and unclenched my fists, searching for the words to repay him. Money wouldn't cut it. My pockets were empty, my pride threadbare. Yet I owed him more than labor and parts. I owed him a truth I'd buried deep. "I know you don't want thanks," I began, voice low. "But I can't just leave." He didn't reply, but I saw the expectation in his stance. Recognition, acknowledgement, the spark of shared humanity. I stepped closer, pulling a folded letter from my pocket, its edges worn like my hands. It was a commendation from years ago, detailing a rescue that almost cost me my life. I pressed it into his palm. This was never delivered," I said. "I thought it meant nothing after she died. But you should have it." He unfolded the paper, eyes scanning the faded print. His grip tightened on the certificate as if holding history itself. Outside, distant traffic hummed, but the space between us felt suspended, charged with something neither of us could name. "You save people," he said finally, voice hushed. "You risked yourself for strangers." The words weren't judgment. They were gratitude, respect, a quiet echo of what I'd lost when the world moved on. I exhaled, the weight in my lungs easing. I forgot that there's honor in service. I forgot there are people who remember. The wrench he held dropped to the ground with a muted clang, sealing the debt between us. He shook his head, folding the letter carefully. "No debt," he replied. "Just don't be a stranger." I nodded, stepping back into the cab. The engine purred to life, reclaimed strength under my hands. As I drove away, the headlights carved paths through the darkness, and I realized the unspoken debt was repaid not by words or deeds, but by being seen and by finally acknowledging my own worth. And that was the moment I stopped running from who I was. Thought for a second. Late that evening, I parked the truck under a flickering street lamp, its beam cutting through the darkness like a spotlight on hidden truths. Neighbors lean over fences, voices low but charged with speculation. I catch fragments as I pass. Why didn't he charge him? Must be more to that veteran. Think the mechanics got ties we don't know about. The whispers feel like cold breath on my neck. I duck my head and walk past the cracked windows of closed storefronts. Each hushed exchange is a question without an answer, a rumor edging toward accusation. Somewhere between gratitude and obligation, they sense disruption. Something unsettles the usual order of our small town. I slip inside my apartment above the garage, the old floorboards groaning under my weight. Through the thin walls, I can almost hear their echoes. Seen him with that badge. He's hiding something. The doubt hangs heavy, like exhaust fumes dissolving only slowly. I unhook my dog tags and lay them on the nightstand, their metal glinting in the moonlight, bearing witness to every silent accusation. Sleep eludes me. I recall the mechanic's quiet assurance, the unspoken pact we forged when he refused payment. But outside, even kindness becomes a spectacle. Fuel for gossip, suspicion, fear of what you don't understand. My chest tightens as I remember firefights where trust meant survival, where every glance carried consequence. Now, I'm the stranger in these streets. Morning arrives in pale shades of gray. I step outside to fetch coffee, and Mrs. Dalton across the street pauses, her knitting needles halting mid-stitch. She tips her head, forcing a polite smile that doesn't reach her eyes. "Morning," she says, voice clipped like she's testing the waters of civility. I nod, moving on before she can add any new conjecture. Yet each encounter etches another line of tension across my day. I realize I'm not just a guy with a free repair. I'm an enigma wrapped in metal and memory. The town's curiosity crackles in the air, a gathering storm of questions. Who am I? What did I do? And why did someone care enough to help? As I climb back into my truck, ready to face the day's tasks, I steel myself. Whispers may swirl, but I've faced louder echoes in combat. In the roar of the engine, I find my answer. I'm moving forward, whether they understand or not. Thought for a second. My phone vibrates on the nightstand, its glow slicing through the dark like a distant flare. I sit up, heart hammering. No one calls this late unless something's wrong. The screen shows an unknown number. I hesitate, thumb hovering. Then I swipe. Grady, a clipped voice says, "You need to come down." Static crackles beneath the urgency. "Who is this?" I whisper, voice hoarse from sleep. Outside, the street is silent, save for the hum of distant traffic. There's been a development. At the garage, the line goes dead. My stomach clenches. I swing my legs over the bed, feet hitting the cold floor. Memories of code names and covert ops flood back. Midnight summons were always about danger. I pull on boots, grab my jacket, and slip out the door. The night air stings my lungs as I jog toward wrench and repair. Neon letters flicker. The bay door is cracked open. My breath puffs in low clouds. Inside, shadows twist around tool racks and oil stains. I call out, no answer. Then a flicker of movement by the workbench. The mechanic's silhouette emerges, tension stiffening his posture. His eyes meet mine, dark and urgent. "They're out there," he says, voice low. "Black SUVs." My pulse spikes. I step into the bay, feeling the hollow echo of my boots on concrete. Headlights pulse beyond the door. 4 black SUVs idling, tinted windows reflecting harsh fluorescent light. A low rumble vibrates through the floor. I catch the mechanic's gaze. No fear, only resolve. In that moment, the war returns. Adrenaline ignites, instincts sharpen. I slip my wallet free, checking my dog tags. They thrum against my chest like a heartbeat. The garage door shudders as it starts to close. "Stay inside," he says, moving to finish the latch. "I'll handle this." I nod, mind racing. Inside the shadows, I gather every calm breath I can. Somewhere in the darkness, motives swirl. Questions, orders, threats. All I know is this. At midnight, the call meant danger. And once again, I'm on the front line. I press my back against the cold metal door, feeling the weight of unspoken battles, ready for whatever comes through that closing gap. Thought for a second. The whine of engines grows louder, reverberating through the garage like distant thunder. The mechanic tightens the last bolt on the bay door latch, then steps back, wrench in hand. Outside, 4 black SUVs roll into view, their headlights slicing through the half-closed door in harsh, angular beams. Doors open in unison. Men and women in tailored suits emerge, their movements precise and synchronized, operatives, not tourists. The air chills as they fan out, eyes hidden behind dark lenses, earpieces glinting under the neon glow. Each carries a slim tablet or a file folder stamped with an emblem I don't recognize but instantly respect. I lean against the wall, every muscle coiled. The mechanic stands beside me, silent but ready. Our unspoken pact feels thicker now, forged in grease and quiet understanding. I rest a hand on the hood of my truck, seeking its steady presence. A woman in the lead steps forward, heels clicking on concrete. She pulls off her sunglasses, revealing eyes that miss nothing. "Sergeant Grady?" Her tone is polite, but carries steel. I nod, slipping my dog tags into view. "That's me." She taps her tablet, scanning the tags. "We have questions about unauthorized military-grade modifications found in this vehicle." Her gaze flicks to the mechanic and the individual who performed them. My chest tightens. Unauthorized modifications. Words that could shred a reputation overnight. This truck needed repair, I say, keeping my voice even. Nothing more. The woman's lips curve into a thin line. "We found classified equipment hidden behind the wheel well. You and your associate may be in violation of federal statutes." The mechanic steps forward, voice steady. "Everything done here was standard maintenance. Show me the evidence." She lifts the tablet, projecting a grainy image, a small, camouflage device mounted inside the frame. My heart skips. This wasn't my doing. The mechanic's face goes tight as he inspects the photo. A man in a suit moves to cuff me, but the mechanic blocks his path, spitting, "No one gets touched until we sort facts." The lead woman regards us both, tension crackling in her stance. "We're in charge now," she says. "Open the truck, or we will." The latch clicks open. As the door rises, a flood of white light washes over us. I brace myself, every instinct screaming, this is no routine inspection. This is war. Thought for a second. The bay door groans upward, and a harsh, sterile beam floods the garage. I step forward, boots thudding on oil-stained concrete, and pop the hood of my truck. Heat radiates from the engine block, familiar warmth that belies the cold scrutiny around us. 5 black-suited agents fan out, tablets raised like evidence boards. I lift aside the air filter housing, revealing braided cables and welded mounts I've never seen. One device perched at a 45-degree angle, its casing patterned in desert camo. My breath hitches. The lead woman swipes through schematics on her tablet. "This is a tactical data uplink," she says, voice clipped. "It shouldn't be here." The mechanic kneels beside me, tracing the wiring with his gloved fingers. "I didn't install this," he insists. "Someone else did." His gaze twists from me to the agents, searching for a clue. One agent peels back insulation, exposing a microchip etched with cryptic symbols. I remember the whispered terms in the field: Black Ops gear, once classified, long thought destroyed. My pulse hammers. How did this end up in my truck? The woman steps closer, eyes narrowing. "You two are the only people with access to this vehicle." I swallow, palms damp. "I was out of town. You can check the shop logs. I brought it here for a basic tune-up." Her partner peers over, lips tight. "Your vehicle's been transmitting encrypted signals for days. Silence coils, heavy as battle fog." I trace the device's antenna, a slender mass tucked behind the radiator. "I swear I didn't know." The mechanic thrusts his chin forward. "Search the lot. Whoever sneaked it in didn't work here." He stands, arms wide, challenging. They glance at each other, hesitation flickering across their features. The woman tilts her head. "We'll need full access, shop, office, personal effects. Anything that touches this case." My stomach roils. Every moment without answers brings more suspicion. Outside, the SUVs idling like vultures, their engines humming impatience. I close the hood with a resigned click and turn to face them. Do what you must. As agents spread through the garage, prying into drawers and scanning computers, I grip the edge of the fender. Betrayal tastes metallic in my mouth. Someone used my truck as a covert mule. Under that hood lay more than an engine. It held the key to a conspiracy I never saw coming. And now, I'm caught in its crosshairs. Thought for a second. A sharp click echoes as cuffs snap around my wrists, the cold steel biting into skin already raw with tension. The lead agent grips my arm, her touch firm but not unkind. "You're under arrest for possession of classified equipment," she says, voice distant, as if reading from a script. I inhale sharply, chest tightening. The mechanic's eyes flash concern, but agents fan out, blocking his path. He raises his hands in protest, voice raised. "This is a mistake. He's a veteran, not a criminal." But they've made their move. One agent rifles through my pockets, extracting my wallet and dog tags. The metal discs clang together like a death knell. I watch them, heart hammering, as they catalog each item. They don't see the man behind the tags, just a suspect in a case that slipped from my control. Handcuffed, I stand beside my truck, its engine still purring, oblivious to its role in this drama. My gaze drifts to the mechanic, his silhouette framed by the bay's neon glow. He starts forward, but an agent blocks him, tone final. "Stand down." They lead me to the nearest SUV, doors swinging open like jaws ready to swallow me whole. I glance back at the garage, its cozy shadows replaced by harsh interrogation lights. In that moment, I feel the weight of every whispered rumor, every skeptical glance. They all converge here, whispers that became questions, questions that became accusations. And now, this. Inside the SUV, the leather seat feels foreign, its smooth surface at odds with my rough hands. An agent slides behind the wheel, engine roaring to life. I look out the tinted window, watching the mechanic's shoulders slump, The bay door's neon sign flickering uncertainly. "Where to?" the driver asks, voice neutral. I don't answer. My throat is thick with words unsaid, explanations that would sound hollow. Outside, headlights streak past, townspeople unaware of the veteran being hauled away for a crime he didn't commit. As the SUV pulls away, I catch a final glimpse of the mechanic standing alone in the bay, wrench dropped at his feet. A sudden ache blooms in my chest, betrayal, fear, and something deeper, loss. In the rearview mirror, my own eyes stare back, defiant, uncertain, bound by steel and circumstance. And as the garage recedes into darkness, I realize this arrest is just the opening salvo in a battle I never anticipated. Thought for a second. The SUV's tail lights vanish around the corner, leaving the garage in sudden silence. I rise from a hastily abandoned work stool, wrists stinging from the cuffs, and cross to the bay door. The mechanic stands braced beneath the track, arms splayed, wrench held like a rifle. Outside, the SUVs flank the entrance, engines idling like beasts coiled to strike. Agents stand at each door, weapons holstered but fingers grazing triggers. Their black suits and mirrored shades render them faceless, professional, unyielding. I plant my feet, feeling the concrete's cool grip. My heart pounds in rhythm with distant thunder, memories of firefights, of being pinned down and returning fire. The mechanic's gaze meets mine. No fear, only the resolve of someone defending not just metal, but a man. A woman's voice cracks through the tension. "Open the door, Sergeant Grady. We have warrants." Her tone is firm, carrying both authority and impatience. I swallow, flexing my shoulders. "He didn't do it," I call out, nodding at the mechanic. "And you know it." The bay door rattles as one agent leans against it, a steel wedge preventing its descent. The mechanic grips the track's metal frame, knuckles blanching. "You're making a mistake," he shouts, voice echoing. "Search everywhere else first." One SUV door swings open. A tall man steps out, badge flashing. He approaches the mechanic, but hesitates under the weight of that silent look. "Stand down," I command, raising my voice. "We'll cooperate. Get a judge here if you have to." A murmur ripples among the agents. The woman with the tablet scrolls through photos, then glances up at me. Something flickers in her eyes, uncertainty. Rain begins to patter on the roof, each drop a metronome of tension. The mechanic slowly lowers his wrench, fatigue lining his face. I step forward, fists unclenching. "I'll unlock it," I say, "but you let him stay." She nods once, voice softer. "We'll review the evidence. No arrests until then." I draw a shaky breath and click the cuffs open with the bay door latch. The mechanic steps forward, relief and defiance mingling in his expression. As the door hums down, sealing us with the SUVs, I realize this standoff wasn't about guilt or innocence. It was about lines drawn in oil and steel, and about standing together when everything else tried to tear us apart. Thought for a second. I catch the glint of a badge clipped to the agent's belt, its finish scratched and dulled, edges worn from years of use. It's not the pristine emblem I expected, but something older, personal. My chest tightens as I recognize the insignia of the 82nd Airborne Division. The mechanic glances at it too, eyebrows lifting. The lead agent steps forward, lowers her tablet, and uncuffs me. Her posture is tense, as if she's wrestling with a memory. She removes the badge and hands it to me. "I carried this into Fallujah," she says quietly. "It belongs to someone else." I palm the metal, feeling the grooves smoothed by countless hands. My breath catches. The initials etched on the back are familiar. MC memories flood in, him calling through smoke, reaching for me as explosions roared. Michael Carmichael, the medic I carried 2 miles to safety. I look up, meeting her eyes. "You're him," I whisper. Her face trembles with disbelief and relief. She's no faceless authority figure. She's the boy I saved, grown into an agent carrying scars of his own. Around us, the agents hold their positions, but the tension shifts. This isn't a raid anymore. It's a reunion neither of us anticipated. The mechanic steps closer, watching intently as two lives converge in that silent moment. She clears her throat, voice steadier. "I've been looking for you," she admits. "Ever since they told me, ever since I woke up." The badge slips from my fingers, and she presses it back on her belt, its weight now a symbol of shared history. Outside, the rain patters harder, washing away the grime on the SUVs. The bay door's neon glow softens. The world beyond feels distant, bureaucracy and suspicion fading in the face of this recognition. I slip my dog tag from under my shirt and offer them to her. "You saved me that day," I say, voice thick. "I can't let you stand here alone." She takes them, and for a heartbeat, we stand as equals. Soldier and survivor, mechanic and agent, bound by a worn-out badge and a debt repaid in trust rather than tokens. Then she steps back, voice firm but gentle. "Let's sort this out together." Thought for a second. The mechanic's wrench slips from his grasp, clattering against the concrete as the bay falls silent. I stare at the agent. My medic, once a boy saved by my hands, now forced to choose between duty and loyalty. His eyes flash with conflict, the badge on his belt a razor's edge between us. Suddenly, another agent pushes forward, voice cold. "This is high level. Orders came from above." He taps a folder stamped top secret, the words punching through the haze of recognition. "We can't ignore this." Betrayal drips from his tone, an echo of the worst kind, where trust shatters in the very moment you need it most. My chest tightens as I watch the agent I saved tighten his jaw, glancing between me and the folder. The mechanic steps in, shielding me with a broad shoulder. "He's not your enemy," he fires back. "Find whoever planted this device." The top secret agent's lips curl. There's no time for that. National security comes first. He raises a tablet, scrolling through intercepted transmissions. My truck's frame used as a covert spy channel. A finger traces lines of code, each one a nail in the coffin of my innocence. I swallow hard, the taste of iron on my tongue. Memories flood. The moment mortar fire cracked around us, the silent vow I made to keep my men safe. And now, that same vow feels twisted into a weapon turned against me. My eyes lock on the medics, searching for the boy who called out for help in the desert. But he's gone, replaced by an agent bound by orders he can't break. His mouth opens, then closes. The folder's pages rustle like dry leaves. The mechanic steps forward, voice trembling. "You save him once. Now let him return the favor." Time stretches as the medic's hand hovers over his badge, then the file. Duty and gratitude clash in his gaze. A bead of rain slips through the garage roof, landing on the folder, smudging ink. He exhales, voice soft, "I want the truth." And in that confession, the echo of betrayal transforms into a chance for redemption for both of us. Thought for a second. The mechanic's gloved hand hovers over his toolbox, fingers brushing worn handles. Around us, the air crackles with accusation and suspicion. Every agent's gaze a spotlight on his next move. He breathes deep, weighing loyalty against the law. I stand beside him, hand on his shoulder. "It's your call," I murmur, voice steady despite the storm swirling around us. He glances at me, grease smeared across his knuckles, respect shining in his eyes. The lead agent folds her arms. "You help conceal this," she says. "You can assist us now, or face charges yourself." Her words hang heavy, dripping with consequence. He steps forward, wrench clutched like testimony. Outside, rain hammers the rooftop, a relentless drumbeat of tension. Memories flash across his mind. Strangers grateful for a free repair, my silent nod of thanks, dog tags glinting in the neon light. He lifts his chin. "I fix his truck," he says, voice low, "but I didn't plant that device." He pauses, scanning the agents' faces. "I can't go after my friend without proof." The top secret agent's jaw tightens. "We will extract it," he warns, "whether you help or not." Mechanic's eyes flick to me, searching for vindication. I nod, grateful for his stand. "Start with the work logs," I urge. "Check timestamps. Look at who accessed this garage." He snatches a tablet from the nearest agent, fingers flying over the screen. Lines of code and entry logs appear, digits and timestamps that blur under pressure. His brow furrows as he cross-references entries with his own records. Agents cluster around, breathing down his neck. Each second stretches, loaded with the power to condemn or exonerate. Then he exhales and taps a key. A list unfurls on the display. A series of late-night entries under the name of a new hire, someone I never met. The lead agent leans in, eyes widening. These names, they belong to a contractor from out of state. The top secret agent's posture shifts, authority cracking under the weight of evidence. The mechanic turns to me, wrench lowered. "Your name's clean," he says softly. Relief floods through me, warmth chasing away the chill. Around us, the agents exchange rapid looks, protocols reversing. In that moment, the mechanic's choice, courage over fear, pulls me back from the brink. And as the first light of dawn filters through the bay door, I realize we've turned the tide together. Thought for a second. Tension crackles like a live wire as agents lean in, eyes darting from the tablet to us. The contractor's name, unknown, unvetted, blazes on the screen. Protocol demands arrests, evidence seizures, endless paperwork. But the air is thick with something else, righteous anger. The top secret, agent clenches his jaw, finger hovering over the arrest button on his tablet. My hands ball into fists, knuckles whitening. Across the bay, the mechanic stands rigid, wrench still strapped to his hip. And it happens. A surge of all I've bottled up, betrayal, frustration, the sting of cuffed wrists a dozen nights ago, erupts. A lunge forward, voice tearing through the murmurs. "You don't get to treat us like suspects." Doors slam, agent spin, weapons raised. The lead agent steps back, confusion flitting across her face. My pulse drums in my ears. I feel the mechanic's hand on my arm, steadying me, but the dam has broken. "You want protocol?" I shout, voice hoarse. "Well, here's your protocol. You fix your mistakes before you pin them on a veteran who risked his life for this country." The words spray out, scorching the quiet. Outside, the rain pummels the roof, each drop a drumbeat matching my heartbeat. The contractors and the SUVs stiffen, hands moving toward doors. Agents hesitate, caught between orders and outrage. The mechanic steps beside me, raising his own voice. "He's right. You found the truth. Now you need to own it." His tone is fierce, no longer just grease and steel, but defiance forged in friendship. A pregnant pause hangs in the charged air. Then the top secret agent's shoulders slump. The tablet slips from his fingers. The lead agent exhales, lowering her weapon. Silence crashes down until I lean against the hood, breathing hard, eyes blazing. My chest heaves with release and resolve. And that's when snapped. Thought for a second. As the rain eases, the mechanic taps a sequence on the tablet and a dossier unfolds. Maintenance logs, security footage, and contractor credentials stitched together like pieces of a puzzle. The stranger who slipped the device into my truck wasn't me, or him. It was an outsider exploiting our garage as a drop point. We huddle around the screen, agents leaning in as data scrolls by. The contractor's access code matches a series of late-night entries in the electronic lock, a lock we believed only shop staff could open. But the footage reveals a backdoor keycard, traced to an off-site vendor with ties to a shadowy tech firm. My breath catches at an image, a masked figure in a similar uniform to my own, slipping something small and camouflaged under the fender while I slept inside the truck. The timestamp, 2 days before the free repair. The agent I saved stares, jaw clenched. "He manipulated the logs," she says, voice tight. The mechanic wipes sweat from his brow. "He fabricated the timestamps to frame you." He pauses. "National security scare tactics. Hide a device, then chase a veteran for cover-up." His words land like a hammer. Outside, the SUV's engines hum idly. Agents exchange swift glances, recalculating orders. The lead woman lifts her head. "We'll need copies of all this," she says, and criminal referrals for the contractor. Her tone holds relief and remorse. I trace the contractor's face in the footage, a stranger with cold intent. The betrayal's echo fades, replaced by clarity. Our bond and integrity stood firm. The mechanic exhales, relief softening his features. Your name is clear, he says, eyes unwavering. I nod, the weight lifting from my chest. The lead agent steps forward, extending an unloved hand. I'm sorry, she says simply. You didn't deserve this. I shake her hand, the contract of trust renewed in its grip. The rain-dampened bay feels almost peaceful now, a battlefield reclaimed by truth. As the dossier closes, the mechanic locks eyes with me. Let's get back to work, he says, voice steady. Outside, dawn breaks, casting gold across the hood. In that light, the uncovered truth doesn't just clear my name, it ignites a new beginning. Thought for a second. She stands under the waning neon light, holding the contractor's dossier like a confession. Her uniform is immaculate, but her shoulders sag with the weight of 1,000 regrets. I trusted the intel, she admits, voice breaking. I followed orders without question. I watch her, the woman who once called out my name on a battlefield, now apologizing in a damp garage. The rain has stopped, but the air still tastes of remorse and redemption. My dog tags clink against my chest as I step forward. You did what you thought was right, I say softly. We all make mistakes. The wrench at the mechanic's feet glints, a reminder that truth often hides beneath layers of grit. She flips through the folder, eyes lingering on my commendations, the photograph of me carrying her through the desert dust. I saw you as a suspect, she whispers. I forgot who you were. Her gaze meets mine, vulnerability exposed like an open wound. Outside, the mechanic cleans his tools, giving us space. In the hush, every droplet from the bay's leaking roof echoes like a ticking clock. I remember the night he dragged me to safety, and now I'm here, offering him solace. She closes the folder with a soft thud. I'm going to make this right, she promises, voice steadier. I'll recommend disciplinary action and see that the real culprit faces justice. I nod, the swell of gratitude a quiet anthem in my chest. Thank you, I reply, not for the apology, but for her resolve to correct the wrong. She steps closer, hesitates, then extends her hand, this time not as an agent commanding compliance, but as an ally seeking atonement. I take it, feeling the tremor in her palm. The mechanic looks up, nodding his approval. Outside, the dawn has broken fully, washing the garage in gentle gold. The SUVs stand ready to roll, but no longer as predators. They're vessels of a mission reclaimed by integrity. As she turns to leave, she pauses at the bay door, gaze lingering on the hood of my truck. You saved my life, she says quietly. Let me help save yours. And in that moment, her remorse transforms into action, a promise that echoes louder than any order. Thought for a second. The cell door clangs shut behind me, but it's lighter than expected. The guard slides a folded sheet of paper through the slot. My release order, stamped and signed. My wrists tingle where the cuffs were, but the weight dissolves with each breath. I step into the corridor of the holding facility, lights humming overhead. The mechanic waits at the exit, arms crossed, and eyes bright with relief. He hands me a fresh cup of coffee, steam curling between us like forgiveness. Welcome back, he says, voice warm. Outside, the rain has washed the streets clean. The air smells of morning and second chances. The agent who saved me stands beside the SUVs, her remorse replaced by determination. She holds out a manila folder, new paperwork clearing my record, along with a personal invitation. Contact me if you need anything. I slide the folder into my jacket. The mechanic claps a hand on my shoulder. You ready? He asks. I nod, gripping the hot coffee. The taste is bitter and grounding, a reminder that I'm alive and unbound. We walk to my truck, its hood gleaming under the early sun. I lift it, inhaling the familiar scent of oil and metal, and hear the engine's grateful growl. The agent steps forward, clearing her throat. I filed a recommendation for your benefits reinstatement, she says. You deserve more than an apology. Her words settle like soft rain on parched ground. I manage a small smile. Thank you. It feels inadequate, but it's honest. The mechanic climbs into the passenger seat, and I take the wheel. The engine roars to life, more powerful than before. Rebuilt, reclaimed. The agent watches us, then turns and vanishes into the morning haze, her silhouette fading but her promise lingering. As we pull away, the garage sign retreats in my rearview mirror. Neighbors peer out of windows, curiosity replaced by respect. The road ahead stretches wide and open, each mile a testament to renewed faith. I push the pedal, and the truck surges forward, carrying me toward a future unshackled by past betrayals. Beside me, the mechanic grins. Together, we drive into daylight, free at last from the darkness that once threatened to consume us. Thought for a second. The sun filters through greasy windows, casting golden stripes across the garage floor. I prop the hood open and dip a rag into the oil pan, wiping down the engine block with deliberate strokes. The mechanic leans in, arms crossed, watching the familiar ritual. I pause, letting the rag rest against my palm. The scent of hot metal and fresh oil fills the air, grounding me in the present. I owe you, I say quietly. More than you know. He shrugs, wiping his own hands on a faded towel. Just paying it forward, he replies, eyes warm with sincerity. You fixed me first. I laugh softly, the sound echoing between tool racks. We fixed each other, I correct. This truck, me, even you, none of us would be here without a little help. He nods, and for a moment, we share the silence of camaraderie. The rag moves again, tracing the contours of restored parts. Each wipe is an act of gratitude, a silent thank you pressed into metal. Outside, the morning bustle begins. A delivery truck rumbles by, kids on bikes glide past, the town breathing life back into routine. Yet here, in this bay, time stretches, a space reserved for healing and recognition. He hands me a beer, cold, its condensation mingling with the oil on my fingers. I accept it, clinking bottles with him. To invisible debts repaid, I toast, voice thick with emotion. To brotherhood, he answers, raising the bottle. We drink, and the bittersweet liquid slides down, warmth blooming in my chest. I rest the rag on the bench and wipe my hands on my jeans. What made you help me anyway? I ask. He shrugs, grin flickering. My old man used to say, no man left behind, he says. Guess I took it to heart. I nod, tracing the empty bottle with a fingertip. You saved more than a truck, I say. You saved my faith in people. He taps my shoulder. And you reminded me that honoring service isn't just flags and medals. It's recognizing the man behind the uniform. The garage hums around us, drops of oil, muffled engines, distant laughter. In that symphony of ordinary life, gratitude pulses like its own engine, driving us forward together. Thought for a second. We climb into the cab as sunlight streams through the windshield, dust motes dancing in the air. The engine hums beneath us, a steady heartbeat that feels like home. I turn the key, and the truck lurches forward, tires crunching on gravel. Beside me, the mechanic settles in, eyes on the road ahead. The town blurs past, closed shops waking to morning business, children heading to school, neighbors offering nods of newfound respect. Each glance seems to say, yes, he belongs here. The radio crackles to life, an old country song drifting through the speakers. I tap the steering wheel in rhythm, letting the melody fill the space between us. We drive toward the outskirts, where open fields stretch green and gold. The mechanic points to a narrow dirt road leading to the riverbank. Thought you might want a smooth place to break her in, he says, voice shaded with pride. I smile, easing the truck onto the winding path. The suspension absorbs every bump, the tires gripping the earth with renewed confidence. The river glistens ahead, a mirror to the sky. We park beneath an old oak, its branches arching like protective arms. I step out and pop the hood, releasing the strain I've carried for months. The mechanic joins me, leaning over the engine with a satisfied grin. Ride her how you want, he says. She's yours now. I nod, heart swelling. I imagine endless miles, back roads, sunsets, freedom regained. The sky above is vast, promising more than just a repaired engine. It heralds possibility. He slings an arm over my shoulder. So where to first? I glance at the river's edge, grass brushing my boots. Anywhere, I reply, as long as we're moving forward. He chuckles, and together we walk back to the cab. I settle into the driver's seat, hands gripping the wheel like a lifeline. He climbs in, and we set off, wheels turning toward horizons new and familiar. In that shared ride, the road beneath us becomes a promise, not just of destinations reached, but of journeys taken together, brotherhood in motion. Thought for a second. The sun dips low, painting the sky in streaks of amber and rose. I pull off the highway onto a quiet back road, the engine's steady hum accompanying my thoughts. On the dash, I lay out my dog tags, Walter, E. Grady etched into their worn metal. They catch the fading light, casting tiny reflections across the windshield. Each clink against the glass is a heartbeat, a reminder of where I've been and who I am now. I trace the letters with my fingertip, feeling the grooves smoothed by years of wear and neglect. The mechanic glances over, noticing the display. "They look right there," he says gently. I nod and tuck the tags back under the sun visor, letting gravity hold them in place. Needed to see them, I admit. Not just in my heart, but in plain sight. The tags rattle shifts with every curve, a soft percussion that grounds me in reality and memory. Outside, cornfields sway in a golden breeze. The air smells of harvest and promise. Here, miles from town and suspicion, the world feels simpler, just road and sky and fellowship. The tags murmur, "You're not alone." The mechanic taps the radio dial and lands on a late-night news report. They mention a veteran's story, free truck repair, conspiracy, vindication. I feel a pang of discomfort as my past self flickers on the speaker. Then I catch the mechanic's eye, pride and reassurance shining back. I close my eyes, inhaling the dusk. The tags jingle softly, echoing distant echoes of mortar fire and triumph. I remember the friend I carried across burning sand, the oath we made, no man left behind. Those words now weave through every mile I drive. The truck rolls forward, tires whispering on asphalt. I lean forward, hands firm on the wheel, dog tags resting just above my heart. Their weight is light, but their meaning is heavy with history and hope. As darkness gathers, the tags catch the last sliver of light, a silver testament to survival. In their quiet presence, I find a compass guiding me home, wherever that road may lead. Thought for a second. I roll back into wrench and repair just as the overhead lights flicker on, bathing the bay in a warm glow. The mechanic is already there, wiping down the last of his tools. The hum of the garage feels like a heartbeat, steady, welcoming. I kill the engine and step out, the scent of oil and rubber wrapping around me like an old friend's embrace. The bay door rumbles down behind me, sealing out the evening chill. It's quiet, save for distant traffic and the soft drip of an overhead leak. Here, nothing is dismissed as hopeless. Every dented fender, every sputtering engine finds its fix. He leans against the workbench, arms crossed, eyes warm with understanding. "Welcome home," he says simply. It's more than a greeting, it's an invitation, a promise that no matter how broken someone or something appears, there's a place for repair. I wander among the lifts and jukebox of spare parts, memories flickering. The first time I brought in that rusted chassis, shame in every step. The night I waited under that neon sign for a call that never came. All of it led here to a garage that became a sanctuary. He tosses me a rag, and I catch it instinctively. I wipe my hands, then offer it back, a silent nod of partnership. "You sure this place can handle anything?" I ask, half joking. He smirks. It saved more than cars. His gaze drifts to my dog tags hanging from the mirror of my truck. Saved people, too. Outside, shadows lengthen, but inside the bay feels timeless. There's a lift open, like an empty stage waiting for its next act. I imagine veterans, strangers, anyone abandoned by the world, rolling through those doors, each one finding a chance to start over. He pats the hood of my truck. See you tomorrow? I nod, heart full. First thing, as I leave, the garage light follows me down the driveway, a beacon against the dark. Behind me, the bay stands ready, gears, grease, and goodwill aligned for the next story of redemption. In this garage of second chances, no one remains broken for long. Thought for a second. Word spreads fast in the small town, like oil along a seam. By morning, the coffee shop buzzes with talk of the veteran's story. How a mechanic's kindness sparked a chain reaction. Baristas refill cups as patrons nod knowingly, touched by a narrative closer to home than any headline. I walk past the diner, hearing snippets. Heard he's fixing more than trucks now, a fundraiser at the garage this weekend, everyone pitching in for veteran supplies. The ripple has turned into a current. At the hardware store, I slip inside and find a mechanic chatting with the owner about donated parts for free service day. Shelves once stocked with idle supplies now stand half empty, each tool earmarked for community goodwill. He catches my eye and waves me over, pride etched in every line of his face. Together, we step outside into the late afternoon sun, a banner strung between two lamp posts reading Second Chances Day. Neighbors gather, hands extended in solidarity. Local veterans, families cheering, kids offering homemade thank you cards. The air vibrates with laughter, gratitude, a shared sense of purpose. I see Mrs. Dalton handing hot dogs to a retired sailor, her knitting bag at her feet, patterns paused in mid-stitch. Teenagers I barely know volunteer to wash engines and change oil. Even the top-secret agents drop by, their suits replaced with grease-stained overalls, sleeves rolled up in earnest. I stand beside the mechanic as he greets each person, offering nods of respect. I feel a swell of emotion. This isn't just about fixing trucks. It's about healing divides, forging bonds. A local reporter snaps photos, capturing moments that will inspire others beyond these streets. As an old truck's engine fires under free labor and friendly hands, I realize how far we've come, from whispers of suspicion to shouts of support. In the rearview mirror of progress, the past shadows flicker but no longer define us. The mechanic claps me on the back. "Look at this," he says. "We did it." I smile, watching the community's ripple grow wider. Proof that a single act of compassion can resurface hope, transform strangers into neighbors, and turn a quiet garage into the heart of change. Thought for a second. Dusk settles as the crowd disperses, leaving the garage bathed in the soft glow of string lights. I stand alone among folding chairs and empty tool carts, the air humming with the echoes of laughter and gratitude. Tonight, I realize I'm no longer a face in the crowd or a name on a worn tag. I am seen. The mechanic emerges, holding a framed photo, me leaning over the engine, dog tags glinting in that neon light. He hands it to me with a grin. "For your wall," he says. "So you remember where you belong." I accept it, hands trembling. The image captures more than a moment. It captures a turning point when kindness cracked my armor and community embraced my story. I step outside the bay onto the pavement, the portrait tucked under my arm like a badge of honor. Neighbors linger by their cars, offering waves and cheers. A group of school children approach, shy but determined, presenting a handmade banner. "Thank you, Sergeant Grady." Their smiles shine brighter than any medal. I kneel to their level, pressing dog tags into their small palms. A veteran I'd never met clasps my shoulder. "Welcome home," he says, his eyes misting. Words I've longed to hear, spoken by someone who understood. Around me, others join in a chorus of appreciation. Handshakes, pats on the back, hugs that seal my place among them. I look up at the garage sign, its letters worn but steadfast. Wrench and repair. Beneath it, a new plaque gleams in the lamplight. Here, invisible no more. It bears my name, but also there's the mechanic, the medic, the community that rallied. My breath finds a steady rhythm as I step toward the plaque, fingers brushing its polished surface. I feel the weight of years lift, replaced by belonging. The dog tags under my shirt thrum against my heart, no longer a reminder of loss, but of survival and resurgence. The mechanic joins me, tossing an arm around my shoulders. "Ready for tomorrow?" he asks. I nod, looking back at the garage's open bay, a beacon for those who need a second chance. "Yeah," I reply. "I'm ready." Under the glow of the sign, we turn off the lights and walk inside, leaving behind the night, but carrying forward a truth that will last. I am invisible no more.